So I was up at CVS today because my mom recently had a surgery of her jaw and her mouth is all wired shut, and she was saying that her mouth has been getting dry, especially at night, so she wanted some kind of like mouth spray. So I went up to the pharmacy at CVS and asked the lady behind the counter, like, do you like, my mom recently explained all that, and she said, uh, she like, some other lady comes around and she's like, what's going on? And she's like, this is what the lady says to her. I had explained my mom recently had surgery, needs to spray, and she says to this other lady, she had surgery and wants something to keep her mouth moist. And I thought this was really interesting because this other lady who came over has no context into who she is. I mean, standing at the counter is me and Shade, two guys, quite obviously, with the long beards. Not to say that women can't have beards, but it's unlikely. Uh, and this lady, just said she, and because the context of who she was didn't really matter. Like, I'm sure that this other person could imply that neither one of us was she, but it doesn't matter who she is. All that matters is that she's got a dry mouth and needs a mouth spray. But I found this so fascinating because, like, for me as a writer, I'm always trying to give as much context as possible, and like figuring out where the line lies on like how much context is enough is something I have to think about all the time. Like if I write a paragraph such as like the main character of this story, she will go to the office or whatever. Like I have to say the main character, or else you won't know who she is. And I often write in such a way that I like to say a character's name once and then from then on refer to them in pronouns, and I try to write in a way that that's understandable, but it's always walking a thin line because, like, if I use the character's name every time, then you always definitely know who I'm talking about, but it's also a clunkier read, and it just doesn't, sound as good and as natural. So I prefer to, like, if you watch my video on cute girls in anime, like when I do the Sancha Sanyo part, like I very distinctly start each paragraph talking about a character, and I'll say their name at the very start, and then, never again throughout the paragraph, and I just had to write it in such a way that you could always tell that I was talking about the same person, and of course the on-screen visuals help with that as well. So, like, seeing, something where, like, the context didn't matter was interesting because I know if I'd been in that situation, I would have said his mom, just because it's more of the story. It's more clear. It's more you understand who you're finding this thing for. But I guess it really didn't matter in that context. Um, you know, and I thought about this because of the fact that I was on Reddit and there was a thread that just said, she got me Saitama for my cake day. And immediately in my head, I assumed that she is whoever this person is, like spouse, or girlfriend or wife or something. Like, just because of the phrasing of it reminds me of like jewelry commercials. Like, if you've ever seen, like there's this company called Jared that's like a jewelry store, and they have commercials where it'll always be like the girl comes up with her ring and she's like, he went to Jared, and it's, who he is by implication because who else is buying her jewelry. So, but like in this context, maybe it's his girlfriend, but anyone could have. Maybe it's a girl who's another girl giving her something. Like, who the hell is she? It's just that you're so used to this phrasing being used to refer to a spouse that, like, when I read "she got me Saitama," I just immediately thought, oh, it's probably his girlfriend. But yeah, I just find that really interesting. And if it wasn't someone's girlfriend buying it for him, then I think that would be doubly interesting because it would show just how that person didn't think about what the context would suggest. But I think it's more likely they did, but I don't know because I didn't read the thread, so whatever.